Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. We are on day 6, right? Is it day 6? Seems like it's day 6 of Christmas. How wonderful. Hopefully everyone's doing well. Got a question. So I'm reading through. This is gonna be a short stream too, by the way, because I've got stuff I gotta do. um, I was reading through some episode 1 stuff, and did did the new canon? Hello, Teresa. Look at that. The only one watching me right now. You get an invite for that, even though this will be short. If you can make it. If you can't, that's fine. But I was wanting to know what happened to Jar Jar Binks. What what happened to him? Was there an ending? Did the new canon give him an ending? I don't know. The old canon didn't, and I think he became a senator, right, or a representative for Naboo. But other than that, we're not told of an ending. Not that we should care, right? Because it's Jar Jar Binks. But still, at the same time, what type of story should he have had? What type of ending should he have had? Now that's interesting, right? Because you're thinking, well, maybe he died a horrible death, and yes, that's a possibility. He could have. Maybe he went on to be senator and supported Palpatine the whole way, the Emperor the whole way. Maybe he became evil. The whole Sith Lord thing is funny. But, oh, well. And Happy New Year to you too from Romania. That's awesome. No, he's not dancing on the streets of Naboo. Is he really? No. Well, maybe so. Maybe so. Maybe he's a. Maybe so. Let me see. Didn't he manage to stay in the upper echelons of the empire and wealth and have kids? You think so? Like, does he keep supporting Palpatine? Does he keep supporting Palpatine even though he's emperor now? And does Palpatine still use him for the pity vote? Hey, hello, 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 Josh. Now you're here when I got 30 minutes. I only got 30 minutes before I have to go somewhere. And I don't know. I want to do another one, but it's going to be short too if I do it today. But the topic is Jar Jar Binks. Being in peace for the sake of being famous. So I was thinking this. What if? What if it's a tragedy? He can't do anything. Palpatine is just using him the whole time, ignores him. And then Nabooans get mad at him and they vote him out of office. And Gungan, he's banished from Gungan City again. He's banished from Naboo cities. So he basically lives alone as a hermit, all alone. And there's a story of a Naboo child and a Gungan child who get lost in the woods. They come across Jar Jar, Hermit Jar Jar. And he's not clumsy. He's still a little clumsy, but he's trying to be careful. Like he has all these safety things he has to do, to make sure that he does things right. And he doesn't, like if he's making a fire, he has to do this. He has to make sure he keeps checking the fire. And he can't stop looking at the fire because something may happen. And he's got to keep every flammable thing away from it. So he picks up stuff and moves it outside the house. He goes to extremes not to be klutzy. And so he has this really pathetic life where, he just wants a friend, but he doesn't have anything. He just has a few forest creatures who are his friends, but they don't talk to him. So he appreciates the kids stopping by. And later on, maybe when the kids go to visit him, because well, he was fun because it's an older Gungan, and they go back and he's passed away in his sleep, and so they give him a little burial, and they feel bad. A lot of or some of the inhabitants of Naboo show up to his funeral because they feel bad that they had all forgotten about Jar Jar. Isn't that crazy? Is that would that be sad? Let me see. No, well, I should have kept it. He should have kept it. Would have been interesting. Yes. I'm only here for 30 minutes, though. I don't think so because he was so hated. I think that hurt George's feelings. So he may have just, checked out on that one. Yeah, for real, right? No, because I was thinking that's a unique ending for Jar Jar Binks. He doesn't try to shoot himself in the head again. Yeah, I think so. Um, but no, that to me, because see, it seems like just reading a few things that no one, I mean, Gungans don't like him. Naboo would like him for a little bit, the Nabooans, but then they would eventually kick him off or out of their cities too for being klutzy. He could be a senator, but a very ineffective senator because Palpatine's just using him at first and then disregards him because he didn't need the Senate, right? After a while, he's just more powerful. He doesn't need their approval. He has a grip as his grip tightens around the Republic. He doesn't need, or the Empire now. He doesn't really need to, belittle himself by giving them his time. So Jar Jar is out the door now, and for being ineffective, Naboo gets hit. They financially, economically, now no one at Naboo loves him, so he just has to live out his life as a hermit. Hey, good morning. Good morning. Oh, he said Jar Jar Binks just to make people mad. No, I don't think he joined the rebellion. I mean, you would want him around during the rebellion era, but I would say that it's depressing to think about. Yeah, here's the thing. The problem with using Gungans, let's talk about this. Get out of here. Um, I feel bad for Jar Jar. The problem with writing Gungans is the way they talk. And it doesn't look pretty on paper. I mean, you look at some of the stuff that we've gotten, short stories, children's books, and they're not very good. I mean, just to read, especially as a child. We misa no significa me tanking the punk and the dasa baba. And you can, as an adult, you can sound those out and go, oh, okay, here's what he's saying. As a kid, could you really? Could you really read those words and interpret what was going on? I don't know. I don't know. And yeah, it was underutilized in the EU. That is fair to say. But at the same time, there wasn't anyone on the forums, online, or anything back in the day, even back when the prequel trilogy was big, not a single person. And anyone who was back there back in the day, please correct me if I'm wrong. I didn't hear a single person say, we need more Gungan love. They didn't say it like that. They said, we need more Jar Jar. We need more, Gungans, Nabooans. I would have liked Tales from Naboo, tales of, the guard and what, Panaka's story, his short story from the Star Wars Gamers, fantastic. But I could have done a few more. And then I can't remember who replaced him right now because I haven't gotten there yet. I can't remember his name, the eye patch guy. It's on the tip of my tongue. Anyway, if someone knows, they're always saying it right now. But anyway, let me get to some of these questions. I mean, not questions, but apparently, yeah. Hey, maybe so. Yeah, yeah. No, I hope not. Let's see. Yeah. Like he used to be a sin. That's what he tells the boys who find him. No, I can't do it. I thought about it. You do those reviews. You read it and then you start talking like him. You really do. No, I don't remember. I mean, she may have taken a bit of them, but I don't remember all of them like that. The game did. Um, that may be it. But see, that's the thing. Like he tells there's a Gungan bounty hunter. Wow. Um, I think what we had, I think, he's telling the kids about his life, life as a child, not being loved, not having many friends, adventures at Gungan. He remembers Gungan City fondly, even though Boss Noss and Tarples didn't care for him that much. And he talks about his adventure with episode 1. That was the biggest moment of his life, obviously. And then accompanying Padme, to Coruscant, then becoming a senator, rising to power. I used to go to parties. I used to go sit in lush places. Women would flock around him because he was a single senator, which means he was probably rich. But Jar Jar didn't know any of that. He just remembers he had some really good times, and now they're over. And now he's homeless, living in the woods by himself, but like I said, he goes to extremes to make sure that he doesn't cause an accident anymore, because that's how he loses friends. And all the little animals that hang out with him, as long as he doesn't cause an accident, they'll stay around him. He's just so desperate to have someone to talk to. So he's so happy to see the kids who find him. And the kids realize who he is. They've heard of Jar Jar, but they thought he was all dead. No one in the town goes looking for him. Well, when they go back to, maybe the next day, like, hey, you know what? That was fun. Let's go see Jar Jar again. But when they do, he doesn't. It's not an ugly death. He just died of loneliness and old age. It's sad, isn't it? But I think it would be interesting though, because if we did this, then how many people would feel sorry for Jar Jar? People are like, you know what? As a fan, I hated him. Not proud to admit that, but I wish there was more Jar Jar. And then people would be calling for Jar Jar stories, right? The Jar Jar character that we all forget. We never talk about him. You think about this, even in prequel talk. You want to talk about Jedi? Talk about Padme, young Anakin. You want to talk about anything else but Gungans? That's fine. I'm not saying that, but I think if you did it that way and you told a story of, how Jar Jar's ending is a sad tale of someone being, because he was hated online. I hated him. I made fun of him. I despised him. Burn a Jar Jar flag. Stomp on a Jar Jar toy. I was all for that back in the day. I think everyone was. So win-win. There you go. Jar Jar meets Ken Palpatine. Yeah. Hey. Everyone's doing Book of Boba Fett reviews, but you got to check out Scoundrels Cantina. He's been on the new TV shows. He'll give a good. I'm not watching the new stuff, but he is. But you definitely want to go out and check that out. He had a few guests on there, and they were speaking about it. Use the devil, yeah. Well, you were probably young enough to like him, But I think that would have been a fitting ending for him, because if you think about it roughly, he is ignored by a lot of people. People roll their eyes. If you read some of the comic strips, the comic books, there's not much Jar Jar, right? There's the small episode 1 adventures, but even there, Ryder Wenham portrays him as someone who doesn't have friends. His mom and dad didn't like him. So my first guest and my only guest here for my last 15 minutes. Howdy.
Hello.
Hi. I got to thinking, this is just something I got, and I got somewhere to go later on, but I wanted to take a moment and talk about, how did Jar Jar Binks end? What is a good ending for him? Because he never got an ending.
Ooh.
At least in the EU. And not that anyone should care about that, but I came up with an idea that I think would be good. It gives him a very sad ending, not, tragic, but not, he doesn't die violently. He just dies alone. And so I thought if we did something that way, people would feel sorry for him. People would feel sorry for him. And, maybe people would probably regret their hate for him. Because by the way, that's me too. I didn't like Jar Jar.
Well, yeah. I mean, he He derailed the Phantom Menace. I think we can all agree with that.
Yeah. Now he was oh yeah, it's much sadder dying alone. Yeah, who wants to die alone, right? So but the thing is, if you're a kid, Jar Jar was meant for you. I did not enjoy him. I'm sure some kids did, and if there's anyone there in the chat, let me know if you were a big Jar Jar fan. I think Anakin connects with kids fine, and they didn't need a Jar Jar, in my opinion. You could have Anakin do little kid things, which they did, and that
Mm-hmm.
would be sufficient. Now you couldn't have him be goofy, obviously, so he's there to get the laughs, but he wasn't that funny to us either. But then
No.
I look at someone who's 10 years older than me. They hate Ewoks, and I love me some Ewoks.
Oh, yeah.
And I get it. Furry little critters, teddy bear, space teddy bears who beat the super cool stormtroopers. I get that. Now they put a reasoning behind that. You know, if you look at the Star Wars Illustrated, no, yeah, Star Wars Illustrated universe by Kevin J. Anderson. Not only does it describe all these planets from the movies, but it basically puts it or wraps it around a story of sorts. Like when we go to Endor, we're looking at the report from an Imperial scout, and he is, underestimating the Ewoks. He thinks they're brainless, mindless, stupid. He doesn't like them, and they
Mm-hmm.
pose zero threat. They're not even their weaponry is crude and would not even affect us. But he doesn't even set up precautions on how dangerous they could be. The Ewoks have been around for generations, and how are these fuzzy little teddy bears able to live on this planet with all these ferocious beasts?
Oh.
So they've got to be great hunters, and they're smarter than their opponents. He just thinks they're a dumb, little animal like fruit flies or something.
Yeah.
And
Well,
so by the Empire reading that report, they underestimate Ewoks as regular animals, and they don't understand their superior intellect, and they get caught by surprise. Now, if let's say that the rebellion does not win that battle, the Empire comes with their second squad and they wipe the Ewoks off the face of the earth. I mean, they do.
yeah.
They do, right? There's
Yeah,
no
that would have been
contest.
the end of it. Yeah.
But because they got the jump on them, and then chaos ensued, because then there was no one there to kind of put them, there was maybe the commander was not there anymore. Maybe he had died too. There was no one to rally the troops and reform them, because once you get scattered, it's hard to bring that conformity back. To because if the stormtroopers would have got their stuff together, they'd have won that battle too.
Oh, easily. It was the element of surprise that got him.
Yes, the element of surprise got them, and then the Ewoks kept them off their feet the whole time. So the battle's won. I feel fine with that. Now, explaining why they would take Jar Jar Binks with them the whole time. The reasoning for this one is Qui-Gon is all about the living force. Somehow he feels Jar Jar is relevant. What was one relevant thing that Jar Jar did in the series?
Mm, he 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 led them to Boss Nass, maybe. Well, the only thing he actually did that had any impact was by nominating the Chancellor for his special powers.
Well, that backfired.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, so like the whole time, I mean, when he's in the battle, he's just making mistakes.
Yeah, there was no reason for him to be there.
And he takes out maybe a tank accidentally by dropping the energy balls. That's fun to say.
Uh-huh.
That was a fun sentence. But anyway, yeah. So he doesn't really do, because he's not the reason they win. Anakin's the reason they win. He doesn't necessarily save anyone's life either, but his own by accident.
Yeah.
He doesn't do anything to when they're off Naboo. Yeah, he guides them through the planet core. What a great guide he was, talking the whole time and passing out.
Yeah, he was worthless. He
And
was
so he's
completely
worthless.
worthless.
He's worthless the entire. And what he looks at Annie's pod racer and numbs his tongue, so the whole time he can't speak.
Yeah.
I mean, like he could speak in the meantime. He just annoys Qui Gon by sucking up the fruit with his tongue. Now, maybe what if Obi Wan and Qui Gon and Jar Jar are stuck in a jail cell later, and the keys are too far out of their reach, and for some reason they can't use the Force or they're knocked out. Jar Jar uses his tongue to get the keys to get them out. Maybe we can see why the tongue thing was there, but no, it was just there for comedy.
Yeah, I think they tried to pull it out of their buttocks that by Jar Jar being the liaison to get them to Boss Nass, with the
He's just along for the ride. So he doesn't serve a
no.
purpose.
No.
He doesn't serve a purpose in any story given to him. What was the Clone Wars story? It was Jar Jar, Master Jar Jar, or Jedi Jar Jar, where
Oh,
he's
must
mistaken
have
as a Jedi.
Bombad Jedi or something.
Yeah, Bombad Jedi and whatever. Again, accidents happen around him. He does nothing.
No.
He does nothing.
Narratively, he doesn't. I'm just saying what they were trying to give an explanation for. I still say though that when Qui-Gon sensed that he was going to quote unquote be useful from a certain point of view, because if Jar Jar hadn't put in motion all the different things, Anakin may not have turned to the dark side and therefore eventually brought balance to the Force with all the stuff with Luke. There you go.
Yeah,
that was his purpose to F
that was his
everything
purpose
up.
to spawn. You like Jar Jar regardless.
I'm
I mean,
fine.
there you go. Let's see. He befriended a water monster. Oh, okay. Well, I remember that, and I remember going, seriously?
Yeah. Well, it's unfair to compare Jar Jar with the Ewoks, as you said. They are completely different. I know that they did annoy some of the older people, the Ewoks, a little bit, but it wasn't so much that it brought you almost out of the story the way Jar Jar did. Because it would be like things were going really cool and funny. There was some momentum, maybe even. And as I said, even some funny things. And then Jar Jar would come in and it was like splat. Also, the Ewoks were only at the end. I don't know. And they'd also established that the Ewoks were badass. Have you ever seen the meme, Matt, where they're sitting there going, where did they get the clothes to put on Leia?
They ate people.
Exactly. So you know that they were fierce creatures. They look cute.
Yeah.
And they even played it for laughs, but they were fierce cannibals, fierce hunters. So I agree with you that Jar Jar, at the end of the day, did not really truly serve a narrative purpose except just to be there and maybe make the kids giggle as opposed to the Ewoks. And I find it very disingenuous when people after the fact say, well, people said the same thing about the Ewoks. No, they didn't. Or people said the same thing about The Empire Strikes Back, say that people said about The Last Jedi. It's like, no, they didn't. I was there. I remember.
Now this is true by Alex. He swears a life debt to Qui-Gon, which is why he stuck around. But I'm sorry, and I should have been more clear, Alex. I'm asking, what was the purpose?
Mm-hmm.
He didn't serve a purpose. He wasn't there to. Usually, those type of well, the fool in the Shakespeare play, they know everything, right? They're the only one that knows what's going on. The fool always has a purpose in the story, to do something grandiose at the end, or have an arc, or learn a lesson, or give that wisdom from an odd perspective.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have it. Now,
well, the fact that he's so useless is, I believe, illustrated that he was barely in episodes 2 and 3 and was not missed at all. Not one little bit.
Look at this. Chronologically, the Ewok movies happened before Jedi. So what if the clothes were Sindel's mom's? That's hilarious. I'd never thought about that.
Someone who can draw, make a meme out of that, make a picture, make a cartoon.
That's funny. When Sindel comes back and goes, are you wearing my mom's dress? Where'd you get that? No, and to answer Blue Pig's question, I don't. There's some good stuff about the Clone Wars TV show, Filoni's Clone Wars, that I really liked. It's when he focused on just the clones That was,
Mm-hmm.
I thought, was good. The first few seasons mostly were good. It's when it got later on, and then we had stupid, I mean, like Bombad Jedi and other. It seems like the tales just got more and more dumb as the series kept going, and it was more dumb than good. And there were, I discussed this on a live stream a while back, but there were some good stuff toward the end. There was a good episode here and there, maybe 4 or 5 that I enjoyed, and I tried to like it because I was watching it when it came out, but I kept them on my DVR for months at a time because watching one and then I delete it. I'd watch it and it felt like work, 30
Mm-hmm.
minutes. And most of the time I was not enjoying it anymore. I was like, this has gone on for 6 years or whatever. This is ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, and how many times did they run across Count Dooku and Grievous? As Steeks says, he becomes like Gargamel.
Again, yeah, that's hilarious. Yeah, I forgot about that. Just with, and there's plenty of reasons why not to like it. There's plenty of reasons. But the reasons, I mean, maybe Blue Pig, that's something I can do. The reasons the good things about it, about the Clone Wars, ain't much.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, okay. Well, I've gotten my early signal that I'm leaving, so 3.5 minutes early. Hey, Teresa, thanks for joining.
Oh well.
It was a brief. This was going to be a brief stream. It was going to be a 30-minute stream anyway, because that's all the time I had. But I was thinking about this. And I was like, I want to ask people what they think. So if you like my idea from earlier, folks, let me know. Teresa, you got big plans for New Year's Eve?
Somewhat. I'm gonna be probably watching Cobra Kai with the family.
Oh, I want to be watching Cobra Kai, but my buddy's out today, so he said, "Please don't watch it without me." I said, "No, we'll watch it next week." So we'll split it up between 2 nights, probably.
Oh, that's nice. The gentlemen are going to be watching some American football, and I'm like, okay, fine. So me and my mama might go and watch something.
There you go. There you go.
Something cool. Gonna go out on the beach actually after this. Probably go out for a bit of a walk and dip my foot in the ocean. It's too cold to go swimming right now.
Yeah, the water's too cold, even though it's really nice. We went in February, and it was beautiful. But when I tried to stick my foot in the water, I was like, "Oh my goodness, it's still winter."
Yeah,
It's still winter in the ocean.
yeah. No, but
But
it's lovely, and part of the fun is just being around people you like,
yeah,
people that
that's
don't
exactly
annoy
right.
you.
Exactly
Christmas
right.
tends to be the one where sometimes Christmas Day rather, when you sometimes maybe don't choose who you get to hang out with. But New Year's, yeah, it's the people that are cool.
That's true. That's true. That's true. All right. Well, thank you again for joining. Enjoy the rest of your New Year's Day. Happy New Year's to you, ma'am.
Yes, to you too and yours.
And happy New Year's to everyone. If I can come back the afternoon, folks, I will. I just don't know. We'll just see. I'd like to do something. I didn't do as much streaming as I wanted to these past 2 weeks. It was just so busy. But anyway, folks, if I don't see you before then, have a happy New Year. Yeah, we're ending the year with ending it with a Jar Jar stream.
Yay!
Now you're making me think that I got to do another one.
Uh-oh. Well, you ended with him all alone, correct? All by himself.
Yeah, all by himself. He dies alone. He meets those kids. He's a hermit. He's, he just wanted someone to talk to. When the kids go back and see him the next day, he passed away peacefully into sleep.
So there you go.
So there you go. There you go.
He had a lonely.
Lonely. So everyone have a lonely New Year's. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. It's horrible. That's horrible. Hopefully I'll be back later for another one, folks. But if not, see y'all later. Happy New Year. Happy 6th day of Christmas.